This is section 3.1. We're going to identify pairs of lines and angles. Here's some definitions. Two lines that do not intersect are either parallel or skew lines. Two lines are parallel if they do not intersect and they have to be coplanar. Two lines are skew lines if they do not intersect and are not coplanar. Planes. So the two planes that are parallel would be like the horizontal planes, this beige one and this blue one. We're calling those planes T and U. Now these are fancy T. It should be a fancy T and a fancy U. I couldn't come up with that on the PowerPoint, but they should be fancy letters. That way you know they're not points on the plane. So you can write that the two planes are parallel. And that's what this symbol means here. It means they're parallel. Line M and line N are parallel lines. Notice these little marks. We're going to talk about these a lot. If you see these marks, that guarantees that two lines are parallel. You can't just assume that lines are parallel, or you can't assume that they're not parallel if you don't see them touch. Line M and line K are skew lines. So line K is vertical, and line M is kind of diagonal. But line M passes behind line K. It's not going to actually intersect with it. So as it keeps going this direction, it doesn't actually touch this line. It's behind the line. So you have a line in front of a line. These lines are not in the same plane. This line is on the beige plane, and this vertical line is not. That's why they're skew, because they don't touch each other, and they're not in the same plane. Now also, and line, and there is a plane that contains both of them, but they don't actually show you that plane. So a lot of times in your diagrams, you don't see every single possible plane. They just show you a few planes. So a little more about the diagram. Those small little directed triangles, they show you that the lines are parallel. And that symbol, it looks like a skinny number 11. That means they're parallel to each other. So, oops. Line M is parallel to line N. That's how you would read that. Now, on these lines, there exist segments and rays, and they're parallel if they lie in parallel lines. So you could have a ray that's parallel to a line or a ray that's parallel to a segment, so on and so forth, as long as they're parts of lines that are parallel. A line can also be parallel to a plane if the line is in a plane that's parallel to the given plane. So in this diagram above, line N, that's this guy, notice how he lives on the beige plane. It's parallel to plane U because the two planes are parallel. So any line that's in this plane is going to be parallel to this plane as well. So we're going to identify these relationships in space. So here is a diagram where you have 6 visible planes here that you don't really see. We need the lines that are parallel to line CD and contain point A. So lines that are parallel to line CD, that would be like line FE, line GH, and line AB. So line AB is the one that contains point A, and it's parallel to line CD. So there's only one answer there. Part B, we need a line or lines that are skew to line CD that contain the point H. So think about a line that is skew to this one. Well, the ones that touch it, they can't be skewed to it. And the ones that are parallel to it can't be skewed to it. So our skew lines would look like line BG line FG, line AH, and line HE. These lines are never going to touch this line, and they're not in the same plane. So these are two good examples of lines that are skew to line CD that contain point H. So we got line EH, and we got line AH. Part C, we need lines, or a line, that is perpendicular to line CD that contains the point E. So perpendicular to this line would come and touch it at a right angle. And here's point E. So we're looking at this line right here. Line ED. It's perpendicular to line CD at point E. Last one, we're looking for planes, or a plane that is parallel to plane EFG. Where is plane EFG? That's your floor. And contains the point D. What is parallel to the floor? The ceiling is. The ceiling definitely has point D on it. How would you name the ceiling? Well, pick 3 points from it. Put them in any order you want. Plane ABD would be your ceiling.